Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Guidry. I am a full-time wedding photographer of almost 15 years, and I'm going to be sharing with you what skills you need to have in order to be successful in this industry. Before we jump into the content, if you're interested in learning how to price your base price for photography, be sure to download the free pricing guide in the description. Okay, so let's talk about wedding photography. It's a very unique career. It is different from anything else that, you can do on this earth, and it's very special. It's an honor. I know personally, I went to school for something completely different. I studied architecture, but this was my passion, and you might find yourself in that same boat that maybe you are in a career transition, or maybe you're already doing wedding photography and absolutely loving it. I know from experience that this is a very unique career path, and so I thought it would be interesting to talk in this episode about what skills you really need in order to survive and thrive, right? So let's dive in. The first is going to be the most obvious, which is photography skills. And if you're watching this and watching the other videos that we have on YouTube or listening in on the podcast, then I already know that you're someone who is an avid learner. You're trying to up-level your skill set. Even though it seems obvious, really first and foremost, our photography skills do need to be on point. And it's okay if you are watching this and you've never photographed a wedding before. I was there at one point as well. I think I shot my first wedding in the fall of 2008. I can still remember that feeling, and I've come a long way since through the process of learning, making mistakes, trial and error, and education. But know that first and foremost, people, when they're looking to hire you, are going to want to see a strong portfolio and strong skill set. So if you haven't gotten there yet, go and second shoot, start building your portfolio, attend styled events, continue to get education, work with other photographers to learn. That's how you're going to get better, and that's how you're going to build up your portfolio, because that is the most important thing, is going to be your photography skill set. So number one, we're going to get that out of the way. You have to have strong photo skills. The second skill set that you're going to want to work on is going to be your people skills. And even as a people person, I consider myself to be pretty outgoing, pretty friendly. I have had to learn so much about how to communicate with people. There is a whole set of things that we have to learn as photographers in order to be more personable and to really work on our people skills. There's a fine balance between being friendly and assertive, being laid back and organized, interjecting, also knowing when to pull back. I think learning from other people is one way to do that, whether it's through educational courses. We have a membership called the Wedding Photography Society, where every month we meet up, we talk about these things. We have guests come in. You can also learn this on your own, through trial and error, through the skills of just making mistakes, sometimes saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing and being like, oh, I don't want to do that again. But people skills are very, very, very important. I know that in this course of photographing almost 500 weddings, I have made mistakes. I have done the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, and sometimes that is hard, but I do always try to take that and learn from it. And I encourage that for you as well, to just continue to strive for better images and better people skills in this process. We're not done with the list, but if you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have those things, just work on them. And not everyone's going to be outgoing, right? Like, some people's personalities are a little bit more subdued. They're more introverted, and that is okay. I think some of the most beautiful, amazing wedding photography images that I've seen are super voyeuristic and come from photographers that prefer a more fly on the wall approach. So there's not one way to do this. And there's millions and millions of people that are getting married and looking for different personalities. So be yourself, be your authentic self, lean into who you are and the personality attributes that make you unique, the portfolio images that make you unique, and just continue to hone in on those skills. The next is going to be time management. we have in the Wedding Photography Society interviewed quite a few wedding planners. And when I asked them what is like the number one thing that they look for in a photographer, a lot of them will say their ability to follow a timeline. So when it comes to especially the pre-wedding activities where we're doing portraiture, maybe a first look and formal photos, being able to stick to the timeline, not put everyone behind in the schedule, becomes very important and imperative. In addition, when you are running a business, you are making money. And time is money. So you want to be efficient in the things that you're doing, both client facing and behind the scenes, and just having strong time management skills. It will really help benefit you in the long run. The next skill set is going to be your ability to adapt. Weddings can be very unpredictable. Things can come up out of absolutely nowhere. And we need to, as wedding photographers, be able to think on our feet and be flexible. Even if it's something that doesn't specifically pertain to the photography itself, maybe the band didn't show up, or maybe, someone's having a hard time at the wedding. We, as the personality and the person who's most closely interacting with the client outside of maybe the wedding planner, we need to be able to adapt and think about, okay, how can we make this situation be smooth and unfold in a way that's conducive to a great experience. So adaptability is key. There's rain, there's traffic, there's so many things that can happen. And so being adaptable and flexible is going to be a skill set that you are going to really learn in the process of being a wedding photographer. The next skill set that you're going to want to possess is going to be a strong attention to detail. Not just in the details of what's happening around you, being observant and sticking to the timeline and the things that we've also addressed, but in the actual visual aspect of what we're photographing, you really want to be detail oriented. I've learned, especially in the later years when we've moved into the luxury market, how important these details are to the client, to the planner, to the vendors. And when we're documenting details, we want to notice everything. So for example, if we're photographing a sit-down dinner and the table arrangement that we've chosen has a fork that is off-center or misaligned, it's our job to straighten that out and get that detail into perfection. If we're styling a lay flat or photographing a client and their hair is messed up, that attention to detail is going to translate into so many positive things for your business, for your images, like perpetuity. You just want to really understand every detail, and it really is a matter of curating and learning, developing that skill of seeing things. I remember even with Brad, my husband, who second shoots with me, when he first started second shooting with me, I remember he didn't always notice what was in the background, like what was behind the subject. And it was more easy to observe the development with him, but I know I went through this very same process. Throughout the course of him shooting, it's like the more practice he's gotten and the more he's developed that skill set, now I can tell through his images that he notices everything. He notices those details. What's in the background? Are there people in the background? Or is there something, unintentionally sticking out of the client's head, like in the background, not actually sticking out of their head, but visually. And that level of detail, it really starts to up-level your portfolio and your images, and the clients will appreciate it. Even if it's something that you can't necessarily change in person, sometimes we'll even eliminate those distractions in post, whether we do it in-house or we outsource to somewhere like retouchup.com. Having that skill set of paying attention to details goes a really long way. The next skill set that you're going to want to develop as a wedding photographer is going to be your creativity and what makes you unique. When I think of the photographers that most inspire me, it's those that when I see an image, I know it's theirs because it's different. They have really developed their sense of artistic style, and not just in photography, in any aspect of design and art, whether it's a painter that I'll follow or an interior designer or an architect. When you are able to look inside and identify and connect with the type of images that really feel good to you, the type of lighting, the type of moments and colors, the more you can lean into that and really start to set yourself apart, that skill set is what's going to bring in clients that really align with you and want only you. So really start to pay attention as you're shooting over the years, no matter where you are, whether you're just starting out or you're 10 years in, really look at your portfolio, figure out what feels good to you and do that. Just because something's trending or something is popular right now, if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. Just really stick to what is natural for you as a creative artist. And I promise you, the people who appreciate and want that art will find you. And the last skill set that you're going to want to develop as a wedding photographer is going to be your business skills. And this is all encompassing. This can be everything from understanding how to manage your books and invoice, to organize your images, communicate with your clients, develop your contracts. We have worked really hard at catgeducation.com to develop a suite of products to help photographers who might struggle on the business side. We have educational offerings, courses, our membership that create community and courses to help support in that process. But when it comes to the business side, it may not be the most natural thing to you if you're a creative, and that's okay. Just like the first time you ever photograph a wedding, like you don't necessarily know everything all at once. I even don't know everything that I'm going to know in 5 years from now. So when it comes to developing those business skills, just do the best you can to learn, to understand what things are most necessary for your business in order to be professional. We really want to understand things like taxes and bookkeeping, because those help to propel the business over the long haul. Even though photography is so creative and fun, you have to make money in order to thrive and ultimately build a sustainable business. And so I kind of saved the business skills for last because it's not the most fun part of the job necessarily, but it is one of the most important parts. I would rank it up there with the photo skills, because if you cannot run the business side, then you can't do the fun part of photography. If you are in your wedding photography journey, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for sharing that with me and listening. If you found this content helpful and the content on our channel helpful, please be sure to subscribe, whether you're listening to us on the podcast or on YouTube. I wish you all the best. Wedding photography has been, such a big part of my life and who I am. And I just absolutely love meeting and getting to know other wedding photographers who are equally as passionate about it. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.